Alright, here is our new 27-inch iMac. Before opening it, these new iMacs are ridiculous. Yeah, I'll record that section when we get to it. Alright, I just took it out of the box. It's got its little, well, wrapping, I guess you want to call it. It's pretty neat. They packaged it pretty well. All pretty like. It's got all the plastic on it and whatnot in these areas. Got my sweet surgeon gloves on so we don't put fingerprints all over this one because we made a mess of the last one. Yeah, just 3 styrofoam pieces. One big one and 2 small ones on the bottom. And the box opened like so. Anyway, pretty cool packaging. Pretty simple. I just pulled off the white cover thing. And it's got a layer of plastic stuck to it. This, stuck to pull it off. Okay, we'll just pull off the plastic. And that's about it. That back plastic, just leave it alone because it's not what we're actually doing. Now, here comes the fun part. If you notice, on the edge of the screen, there it focuses. There are no screws anywhere around the entire thing. The bottom is the exact same way. It's got the little vents. That's it. No screws in it at all. The top, same way. Moral of the story, there's not a single screw holding this thing together. This thing is held together by double-sided tape. Yeah, it's retarded. Anyway, between the black part, there focuses, the black part and the silver part, there's a piece of tape in between the monitor, screen, glass, whatever you want to call it, and the actual hard shell itself. So, what we're doing this time, sweet Walmart credit card, gift card thing, I'm going to be using to scrape basically. So this will be going in between. I'll be going down, separating the tape around the entire screen. While I'm doing that, to make it a little easier, my lovely assistant is going to be using the blow dryer for heat to try and melt the glue a little bit so it comes off easier. Because last time it was, it came off decently, but yeah, so hair dryer to heat it up, just make it come off easier. And then to reattach it, we'll go over that when time comes. So, about to start the process and hopefully it starts, well, ends up good. Okay, to get it started, I had to cheat, and I just used a little razor blade, is essentially what it is. I had to get the gap, so I got the card, it's in there, stuck into it, in between the two. And now, to get that gap, to get the card into it, I stuck the knife in, made the gap a little bit, and then stuck the card in and pulled the knife out. Just be really careful, because what can happen behind this glass here, between the actual screen and the edge, I guess, this is kind of paint, I guess you could say. So you can actually scratch the back of it, vinyl, sorry. So you need to be careful, because if you scratch it, then you're going to see scratches on this side of it, because it's, it's not going to be black. So, yeah, that's that. Okay, we're about to start the actual process. So I'm going to be going down with my card, going down the edge. My assistant will be using a blow dryer or heat gun or whatever you want to use just to heat the edge as you go down. The actual tape itself is really thin. I mean, it's only like, I guess that thick. So you don't have to go deep, so don't go deep, and you don't have to heat that much because obviously it's a smaller area. So kind of the process. We just barely did this whole side. It's very slow movement. You just slowly move. Right now the bar blow dryer is on low speed and hot heat, just to kind of heat it up quick. And as she's going, I just move slowly along, probably going about that fast. So slowly cruise, that's it. And after the brunt of scraping it off, it's kind of fine picking. So you're going to go through and make sure you kind of get the leftover stickies that are on here. Just do it really easily and slowly. If there's any stuck to it still, it'll be a pain to get it off. As you're doing it, you can see it's getting bigger of a gap. You can see I'm trying to pull it apart. You see it's coming apart. So, okay, after painstakingly nitpicking at it, you finally get to this point where it's finally coming off. Don't rush this part, this whole section of it, because you can mess things up super easy getting impatient. You can get overzealous and scratch the back of the vinyl. You can snap the glass. I mean, this glass is strong, but still, you never know. That really suck. But I mean, here's some remnants of the tape, which is all going to be taken off here once we get it apart. Okay, once you get down the side, once it gets far enough forward, you're going to have two cables. You have this one, which connects to here. You're going to have this one, which connects to here. You're going to see them connected when you open it. I'll show more detail here when I'm not holding the screen. But you need to disconnect those two. You'll be able to see them. And I'll show you how to disconnect this one once you get it apart. And the part I was going to show you right now, at the very bottom, because you have another tape strip at the very bottom of the screen. Now, as you're probably aware, you can't fit a knife or your card or anything in there because it's 90-degree angle as far as where it's at. So at the edges, on each edge of the actual bottom of the screen, the tape actually has tabs that stick out. These little tabs right here, little tab right here I pulled off a little bit. Basically, you're going to grab that tab and you're slowly going to just pull it and just go across the bottom of the screen so that it loosens the actual grip on the bottom of the screen for the tape. Okay, this point, so I just barely took off the tabs I was just referring to. I don't know where the pieces went, but so after you take those tabs off, the screen just comes off. I mean, nothing's holding it. So it came off really easy as far as that aspect goes. So now the step around now is just removing all the old tape. So, and it's just, it just peels off. It comes off super easy. So that's the process around now. You should be looking at that. Okay, so we just got rid of all the tape. So it's just the actual edge of it now. She's finishing off the last little strip. Now, even with going careful and whatnot, good chance you're still going to get a couple of scratches. You won't be able to really tell, but you can see there's some teeny little ones along the edge here. If they're visible on the other side, I don't know yet. Something you can do, take a little bit of black nail polish or black paint or something and fill in the little teeny scratches if they're visible on the other side, if you want to deal with it. Honestly, you probably won't even be able to see them unless you're really, really looking for them. But, next step, on this, right now what I'm doing, I'm just switching out the hard drive because I want to put a solid state in. And so, the easiest way to get to this hard drive, you take this screw out, and then you just kind of shift it over. So you don't pull it out, you just kind of shift it over. And then there's two screws underneath here that's holding this bracket in. So you take those two screws out, and then this hard drive can just slide out. Because the hard drive is not screwed into the bracket, it's just kind of poking into it. Here's the final, kind of what it looks like when you're just pulling off the tape stuff. Pretty simple. Alright, so the process I was just talking about. So here's I took the two screws, I just loosened them. I mean, they're still in, those two screws right here. And then you just slide it over. Just that simple. Don't go too crazy, but just slide over a little bit. And you can see, screw right there, screw right there. So you take those two screws out, and this bracket will come out with the hard drive. Okay, and one thing to bring to point here, when you're doing this, I can't remember the actual name, star screwdriver, but it's got that's what they look like. So you need to have a screwdriver that does such a thing. Can't even see that, but hey, there it is. Alright, now I'm on the hard drive, so I just took one screw out. I want to make sure you disconnect the SATA connectors on the top, and it just sits there. You take the other screw out and pull it off. So the hard drive just got pulled out. So the bracket was like this. I'll just show you. So on the hard drive, you got these two little screws sticking out, and they just go into these little rubber grommets on the bracket, and they just slide in. So they're just like that. So they're actually not attached. They're just sitting there. One thing to bring to note, when you're taking these screws out, these two for the hard drive, make sure that when you loosen it all the way, that when you're pulling it out, you like pinch it or hold it on with your finger while you're pulling it out. Otherwise it's going to fall, and then you're going to be digging for it, back behind there, which will not be fun. One little side note that is irritating. These star screws are smaller than all the others. And so I had to use pliers. You just, pliers, grab on, turn. Pliers will, turn them up, make them not look as pretty. So if you want to solve that problem, wrap it up with a little towel or something before you use your pliers on it. Or if you're high speed and you have a sweet star thing that fits that, more power to you. So, just took off the screws. 4 little screws, exciting. So here's the hard drive. It's yours, do what you want with it. But, I'm replacing it with a solid state. Now, if you notice, the solid state is a 2.5, not a 3.5 form factor like the regular desktop hard drives. The regular adapters for the solid states from 2.5 to 3.5, they do the job just fine. If you notice, it's not as long as the actual bracket itself. And so basically, I'll have it sitting on it'll be in the grommets on the top, and then it'll just be in between the grooves on the bottom, just kind of dangling, I guess you could say. It's not going nowhere. It'll do the job just fine. When you're doing the brackets, you gotta put these little screws in it that you just took off the hard drive, in the corresponding spots, and that way it can fit into the actual brackets already on the actual computer. Alright, just went through all the steps. So, connected just like the last hard drive. And got my little bracket. And like I said, it's just kind of dangling there, but it's not going anywhere. It's just going to hang out. So, screw these back in just like they were. And now, it's time to put the monitor back on and hope everything works. Almost forgot to show how these little clips work. So these plugs, it's got this little, so this part moves. It's a little lever. Basically, when it's connected, it's going to be like this. And then you're going to grab this little black flap and you're going to pull it up, which basically unlocks it, and then you can just pull it straight out. So putting it in, vice versa, you're going to slide it in with that little part. So slide it in, and then you're going to push this, over it, and then you lock it into place. So that's how that connector right there works. The other connector, that guy, which is that guy, you just push in or pull out. Nothing too exciting about those. And one step I would suggest doing before putting all the tape back on and putting it back together is standing up the monitor, right in front of it, putting the connectors in and just turning it on just to make sure it works before closing everything up. Alright, so like I said, I just temporarily connected it, so it's just hanging out. Just plugged it in. Make sure you're not touching anything because electricity is bad. Turn it on, cross your fingers. So far so good. And now should say, hard drive error. Need operating system. Why is it all blurry? There we go. Everything's running. Make sure fan's going fine. No crazy sparks or fires incurring. It's okay so far. Just waiting for this thing to... There we go. So after it's on a new hard drive, you should get that saying it doesn't have an operating system, which is good. So cool. Alright, so the test went well. And we disconnected again, laid it back down. Fun fact, or whatever you want to call it, but lay the monitor on something soft. We just laid a towel on our table. Pretty simple. But don't lay it on something that's going to tear it up. I mean, that's common sense, but common sense is not so common. So anyway, forgot to throw that in there. So now it's time to put the tape on. Tape I'm going to be using this time, good old Scotch clear tape. Got this at Home Depot, rated at 5 pounds, so good strong tape. It's 3M VHB. 3M VHB. So good little tape. It's clear and it's pretty thin. So after we put it on, should make a pretty good result. And the stuff that we used last time, which was not good, was this big white stuff. Where's the case? There it is.
The cases, but here's the roll.
Well, that's what the roll looks like. Yeah, don't use this. I mean, you can. It does the job. It just doesn't look as nice when you're done. So, I mean, that's up on you. But I suggest clear tape. Get the skinniest stuff you can. Like I said, I got the Home Depot. I think this roll was $5. So, when we're doing it, as you can tell, this is skinnier. This isn't the tape we're going to be using. But you're going to be rolling a piece out, and then you're going to be cutting it in smaller pieces to actually fit, because you need a thin piece to actually go on the spot where the monitor connects to it. So there's a roll, and we'll show you here in a sec. So the way that we're cutting the tape, just keeping it on the roll because it's a pain to cut with scissors. So I just got a razor blade, and I just rolled along, and I just try to keep the same width as I go around. Obviously it's not going to be perfect, but do the best you can. And then you're just going to peel it off and cut it essentially to the length that you want. Alright. This tape stuff, whatever you want to call it, pain in the butt. Holy cow. It didn't want to cut, it didn't want to do anything. So, they don't look amazingly pretty, but here it is. Basically all the little red marks is where I put some sticky stuff on. So, now here, 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 and so on. Haven't peeled off the backside yet, the plastic part of it. So we're about to peel that stuff off, stick on the monitor, and put it back together. Alright, we just got it all put back together. Overall, pretty satisfied with that tape. Tape pretty good. Could be a little thinner, so if you're able to find something thinner, more power to you. There's a little bit bigger gap. It's not much, like you're not going to notice it unless you're looking for it at all. But pretty satisfied with it. Moment of truth. See if this thing turns on normally. Again, my advice, if you're planning on ever doing anything again in the future, do not put new tape on the bottom, just because it'll make it very difficult to get off again. Yeah, something else you can do, if you want to lay the Mac down on like his face, for example, to put some weight on it, this thing may actually get thinner just from the pressure being put onto it. That's about all I got with that. Got the sweet folder, so we are golden.